Welcome. I'm extremely happy because Spain is in the semifinals of this World Cup among the top 4 teams in the world. And the last time they said something like they'll eventually face a good team. As far as I know, Portugal and Belgium aren't bad teams. But when they said that in tournaments, that ended the way they did. Well, actually, in the end, they've been left waiting for it. Like they'll thrash you, they'll beat you, but it still hasn't happened. It's true, our next match is against France. And I still believe they're the best team in this World Cup in terms of names, spectacle, and what doesn't excite us in football. But if there's a team that can beat France, it's Spain. They already proved it last year and the year before in the Euro and Nations League, practically not giving them any chances. I mean, if there's a style of play that can counter France's, it's Spain's, because they completely neutralize France. I mean, there's football judged by big names, not by the players themselves. When it comes to players, honestly, I'm telling you, there's just no comparison. Spain would be, in terms of players, among the best national teams in the world, of course, but it's not the best. Individually, it's not the best. Not even, of course, more than England. I mean, there are many teams that have big names, stars, players who stand out and all that. In Spain's case, Mikel Merino has played 2 straight matches, but as a substitute. It doesn't matter to him, and next time he might be on the bench again. But if he is, he's not going to make faces or anything like that, and he's going to be a team player. That's who he is, and that's how most of them are. That's how most of them are. Even Lamine Yamal, who we'll talk about in a moment. But maybe the one who stands out a little from that rule, because they fill his head with nonsense. Because Lamine Yamal, he's not at the level of what Mbappe and Messi are doing in this World Cup, and even Haaland, he's not there yet. Maybe he could be in the future, but right now he's not there. At 18 years old, he still has a lot to learn. And since people keep telling him constantly, especially in the media, that he is ready for that, well, that's it. They even give him the Best Player of the Match award, which for me should have gone to Rodri, because Rodri played really well. Not just better, but much, much better. I don't hear many people anymore saying he was useless or whatever. Hey, useless. Making it to the World Cup as your team's top midfielder in the semifinals, especially in recent matches, doesn't make you useless. That doesn't make you useless. Now then, it's true that other factors come into play here. Maybe Rodri in a league with its 38 matches and so on, that's a different story. And in that sense, I can accept the fact that signing Rodri could be a possible risk. Because he might last you a year, but in a short tournament, we're already seeing it. But there were people who wanted to get rid of him even in this World Cup, saying, look, he's not even good enough for a World Cup. Well, look, just look, right? There are many highlights from this Spanish team. We'll discuss Lamine Yamal soon. And they're also calling for a penalty due to Rodri's handball. Precisely. It's amazing the rotten society we live in, where now only appearances matter. The truth doesn't matter anymore. Now only the story told by 4 idiots who are followed by 40,000 people matters, because that's what this is about. 4 idiots followed by 40,000 feeding a narrative that it's a handball by only showing the still image. But we'll see in a moment that the ball hits Rodri between the badge and the shoulder. That ball they're calling a handball, when Spain could have asked for a handball. In fact, they did, and they didn't get it. A much clearer handball in the first half by a guy who was blocking a shot on goal. This is nuanced. It recalls the one with Cucurella and also the Tchouaméni incident in a Clásico with Madrid. It depends on how your arm is, whether it's vertical or parallel to your body. It's about whether that arm is considered to be occupying space or not. But anyway, it was blocking a shot on goal. This handball was more obvious than the one they're questioning from Rodri. I'll show you a brief video now. Honestly, anyone who doesn't see it has an issue with their eyesight or understanding, because that ball doesn't hit him. Between the shoulder and between the badge, the chest, the left side of the chest and the shoulder. Well, first of all, player by player, now I'm talking about Lamine, because I wouldn't have given Lamine the MVP of the match in any way. I mean, now we're also talking about Courtois, who left the field crying. I hope it's nothing serious. Luckily, Courtois is on vacation now and then has preseason. I hope if he has something, it's only for 3 weeks and he spends it in Ibiza, relaxed and calm. Most importantly, that type of injury heals just by resting, right? Hopefully, because we care a lot about Thibaut. In the first goal, maybe he makes a mistake in the clearance. In almost shot, he makes a mistake in the clearance because he clears it to the center and the ball falls to Fabian, who ends up scoring the goal. He made good saves against Lamine, though Lamine's shots weren't very accurate. Courtois didn't have a standout match either. He faced one shot from Mikel Oyarzabal's right foot, but it was forced and almost no angle. And well, it's a good save, but nothing spectacular either. He left the field injured, and the Manchester United player came in a bit cold. I was saying, you have to test this guy. You have to shoot. You have to shoot. Kubarsi understood it. Instead of so much passing and side to side football, so much ball to the right. Although Spain tried to be dangerous, like with Olmo, and today, especially with Lamine Yamal in some plays, they can definitely be much more dangerous. But there was a moment when you said, hey, the game is ending, man, try it. The goalkeeper, damn it, he's got hands, it can slip through them. And indeed, it really reminded me. That one with Vinicius and Neuer, which Jose Lu took advantage of in the match, in one of those matches, we'll remember all our lives, that we will always, always remember, right? Well, as I said, some blame Unai Simon for Belgium's goal, but I don't see it that way. Kubarsi was the one who made a mistake. You can kind of understand that a guy like De Ketelaere, the Prince of Cookies, with the body he has, as tall as he is and all, he could beat you to a ball like that. He could beat you. And in the second half, Lukaku could beat you. He could beat you, but Lukaku didn't beat us. Because in the second half, Spain basically didn't give Belgium any chance for those kinds of crosses. If in the first half, when Belgium got a little closer, even then Spain was absolutely in control, as always, of the field, right? Of the match, controlling it, suffocating the opponent, pushing them back. I mean, never losing control, except for a moment in the first half, like I said, when, for example, Belgium scored their goal, giving the other team some chances. Belgium got a huge amount out of that goal. That first half was for Spain, and the second even more so, right? In fact, the only problem with Spain's matches, even though there are a lot of people who aren't Spanish, or you're Spanish but you don't want the national team to win or something, you say it's boring and all that. Well, if you switch to this side, you wouldn't find it so boring, right? But also you'd enjoy it because Spain hardly faces any danger, very little danger. And it's absurd to say, for example, that Spain doesn't know how to play football or that they're not that good and so on. When a team plays with that, those automatisms, they completely suffocate their opponent. Above all, it distracts them, it demoralizes them. The other day, we read a very good article about how Spain plays and how they finish off their opponents. An architect and a guy who works at CBS on that show, he works at CBS on that show called Golasso. I'll show it to you. He's a former footballer. He gives the reasons. That is, those are the reasons why no team, not even France has played a different way. No team, not even France, plays football the way you might like it, more or less, but to really know how to play football. Very effective. Damn, Spain has gone 30 or 35 matches without losing. 30 or 35 matches without losing. Damn, could it be for a reason? It's just that the deniers, those who say, no, they don't play worth a damn. When you face a good one, well, when you face a good one, let's see what happens in the semifinals with France, who could wipe us off the map. Because in football, every match is a different story. And here, well, that's it. Come on, Spain. If Mbappe has his day and scores two at the start and all that, damn, that can destabilize even the most robotically prepared teams like Spain. And that can happen. That can happen. Usually, what happened in Spain's last 35 matches will happen again. That even, I mean, that they could win, that they don't lose, actually. I mean, that we could end up with a draw, right? Well, Pedro Porro, okay, I think he won the right back position over Marcos Llorente. He's more dangerous, gets to the end line more, and has better chemistry with Lamine Yamal. I think the pair with Pau Cubarsí works well, despite Cubarsi's issue with De Ketelaere, which wasn't really a mistake. Not to blame him, not at all. And then besides, he fixes it a bit by testing the goalkeeper and managing to, well, lead to Spain's second goal. Laporte, very good. Laporte, I mean, fantastic. He sort of retired by moving to Arabia, then returned to Athletic Club in Bilbao and the Spanish League. He's not exactly outstanding, though. He comes here, man, and gives a lesson on how to defend. Cucurella, well, we have a left back at Madrid who is amazing. Cucurella hardly ever makes mistakes. Defensively, he's better than offensively, but even offensively, he works very well, but especially in defense. He's a beast. Rodri, I've already talked about him. Dani Olmo. To me, he's the player who appears between the lines, which is key for Spain. He changes the pace and, as I said, shows up between the lines. He's the one who speeds up the game when everything is too horizontal, and he's the one who gives Spain depth. Fabian, who replaced Pedri, and I thought that was a good change by Luis de la Fuente. I liked Fabian. He scored the goal without any fuss, honestly, but he did well, pretty much like the rest of the team. No one played badly. In fact, even Alex Baena is having a pretty decent World Cup. I mean, Alex Baena has done really well. Now that Nico Williams has recovered, honestly, I'd like to see that more dynamic Spain from 2024 from the Euros, the one that played with Nico instead of Baena, you know? To have those two wingers, and above all, and now I'll get to it. Well, Mikel Oyarzabal, pretty much in his usual form, those connections are working well and so on. He's not a finisher, but he is a center forward, which is very important for how Spain plays. And now I'll get to Lamine Yamal, connecting it with the fact that in the 2024 Euros, how dangerous those two were going forward. Lamine Yamal had a lot less nonsense in his head in 2024. He was a kid who played just to have fun, and that's it. He didn't want to compare himself to Messi, Mbappe, or any of those guys. That nonsense hadn't reached him yet, had it? Just look at how good he is, because he really is damn good, even so. And losing a lot of balls, because there was a part of the match where he gave the ball away like 4 times in a row. But I mean, come on. How is it possible to give the ball away that many times? Incredible. Even so, he shot at Courtois. Was he there? Look, for example, here they're giving better ratings to other players than to Lamine Yamal. I mean, he created danger. In fact, he made a wonderful play that went out by the side of the net. Courtois was still on the field by the left post, which was the best play he made, but there were others that, well, I mean, this left back who came in later for Belgium. I don't remember his name. This guy shut down Lamine Yamal in the last few minutes. What happens is that he's a magnet for defenders, meaning there are a lot of defenders very worried about him, and that's something Spain has to take advantage of. Lamine Yamal has to be a starter for two reasons. One, because we don't have wingers, and two, because he's the best. And another reason is because he attracts a lot of players. The opposing team needs a lot of help when he has the ball, because he has the quality to get past them. Right now, he's making a lot of mistakes, and I wouldn't have given him the award for best player. Not even close. I thought Fabian for Pedri was a good change, because Pedri hasn't played well in this World Cup, and then Pedri has things. He holds onto the ball wonderfully. Yes, because he's a special player. He definitely is. There was a play when Spain was already winning 2-1 in added time, where he started spinning around in circles. He hit the ground with his left leg and fell. But come on, man. I mean, Pedri lacks that team first instinct to keep things simple, to make it a lot simpler. But well, damn. Even so, it's amazing, because I've seen it all with the Spanish national team over the years. I mean, I've been knocked out in the quarterfinals a million times, man. It's the second time Spain has reached the semifinals. The first time we already won the World Cup, and now, for me, it's a happy day, right? And even more. I mean, I'm just seeing Spain in the semifinals. No, especially these days. And I think this team can still give even more than what they're giving right now. They play a style of football that's very tough for other national teams, no doubt about it. And anyone who denies that, man, just doesn't know football. Anyone who denies that doesn't know football. Look, because they're, like I said, talking about it here, let me see if I can find the moment. The thing about whether this is a handball, right? I took this image to start with. To start with, if we have to complain about something, it's about this. It's a handball. It's a very clear handball, really clear from a shot on goal. Look. Are you a Real Madrid fan and you don't care about the national team and all that? If this happened to Real Madrid, what would we be saying, right? What would we be saying? ¿Qué estaríamos diciendo? Bueno, well, the handball is obvious, but now is it so parallel to the body and so close that we should think this? They already clarified with Chouameni's handball in a Clásico. This isn't a handball. I'm not sure, because then there's this image. And it's true that the player, before shooting, Baena has his arm further out and then brings it in. I get if he doesn't call it, but based on the criteria they told us then about Chomeni. But the Komeni one, that one against Barca, was different, because Komeni wasn't sideways. He wasn't at an angle like this. This player was facing the ball. He had his arm. You can't see me here, but he had his arm behind, not even in front. He had it behind, and it was perfectly aligned with his torso. I mean, completely parallel. Here, the player is at an angle. The arm had even been farther out. I mean, damn. I think here he's taking up space. I can understand if it's not called because of those criteria, but if it is called, they have to accept it. So Spain has more reasons to ask for a handball than Belgium. Well, than Belgium. And that a bunch of idiots on social media, most of you will forgive me. I hope you'll forgive me. I care deeply about many Argentinians, have many friends and family from Argentina, and most are Argentinian. Man, just for trying to compare it to the real scandal of this World Cup, which is outrageous. By the way, Romain Molina, a Frenchman, says he'll release a report tomorrow involving Argentina and FIFA that will be a worldwide scandal. I don't know. We'll see what that man publishes tomorrow. I mean, just to try to match that. They're saying that here, really, that it's unbelievable. That someone here could see, I'm even going to turn down the volume, that someone here could see this as bad. Look, first it comes off a deflection. First it comes off a deflection, an immediate deflection. This usually isn't called, all the refereeing experts have said it, okay? That's the first thing. But then look at where it hits him. Look at where it's going to hit him. Look between the badge and the shoulder. What happens there is that he moves his arm inward, but the ball hits him. It's between the badge and shoulder, the only spot, so I'll have to hold it like this for now. Look, it's between the badge and the shoulder. At no point is it a handball where you'd say, oh my God, it hits his forearm. Not at all. It hits him between the badge and the shoulder. But he pulls his arm in, and maybe when he falls, as a second touch, it might brush him a little. The forearm, or maybe the area opposite the elbow, but it clearly hits his chest and shoulder first. That's undeniable. Absolutely undeniable. So, man, are they really saying this is bad? It's unbelievable, the hysterical, surreal world we live in. The truth doesn't matter. You see an image, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like the Santa Olala thing. They didn't hit her with the sling, but she wore the sling, and there were people who believed her. Well, this is the same. This is the football version of the sling. You see one thing and they tell you it's the opposite, and you go, man, but are you seeing it? Well, no, because there's a narrative, the opposite narrative. I'm not going to say it wins, obviously, because it doesn't. There aren't many idiots in the world, but enough for this to keep repeating online. It's fascinating, and I hope all goes well for you. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hype it up. It really helps. We're semi-finalists and going for the World Cup. Thanks for your support. See you next time. Bye.